Impatient Microsoft board hastened Ballmer's retirement. From the Wall Street Journal, November 16 and 17, 2013, written by Shiro Veed and Joan S. Loveland. So in summary, Steve Ballmer, CEO of Microsoft, was rushed off his position by members of the board. Ballmer acknowledged that he might not be the right man to take Microsoft forward in this fast-paced industry, and to quote him, he said, "We need to break a pattern, that pattern being me." So although his intentions were to stay at the helm for a few more years and retire, the pressure from the board and once again the fast-paced industry forced him to make a decision for the sake of the company. However, before leaving, he did acquire Nokia for around $7.2 billion, and that was his last big decision as CEO. So to go over strategic issues that Microsoft has had over the past few years, it all started since Apple started releasing their iPhones and their iPads. Microsoft just, I guess, never saw this coming, and that kind of falls on his lap, on Steve Ballmer's lap. By the time Microsoft tried to get into the game, it was a little too late. I mean, they took 2 years after the iPad was released to come out with the Surface, and by that time, iPad had all the market share that they needed in order to keep control. And that just falls onto the lap of the CEO for not being able to see coming all the changes in technology. So they just fell behind in all the upcoming technology. So in analysis, like we said, now Microsoft has been increasing their market share with cell phones and the Surface, but it hasn't been nearly enough. They still need to be more innovative. They still need to be able to stray away from their work stereotype that they have and be more innovative, something like Apple does. They seem more refreshing. So Microsoft needs to be able to get out of the bubble, and I think it's a great idea that they're changing CEOs, because a new CEO can bring new ideas and a fresher image to a company that's had the same image for the past few years. So my recommendation personally would be to hire a CEO that has experience, such as Tony Bates, who was the CEO of Skype and Cisco at its time. And although now Skype is owned by Microsoft, he does work within Microsoft. But I think someone such as Tony Bates, who's young, who has experience, who's just non-traditional, he's not your square type of CEO, would bring great change into Microsoft. I mean, he is a programmer, so he has experience in technology. He knows what he's doing. In addition, I would make sure that the next flagship release that Microsoft does, they hype it up and they make sure that it's something refreshing, something new, something that compete with Apple, something that you look at it and you want to buy, something that gets people excited. And that's something that Microsoft hasn't been able to do in a while now. Although the Surface did attract a lot of attention, at the end of the day, it still didn't attract attention that a new Apple iPad does. So, specific questions. What makes a good leader? A good leader is someone who knows the market and knows what is required to take a company to the next level. Are all leaders equal in all situations, or do different situations call for different types of leader? And I think that's a specific case for Microsoft. I think Steve Ballmer was the perfect leader for Microsoft in the year 2000, 2001, and so on. But when industry started changing and tablets started emerging and cell phones started emerging as bigger and more competition started arriving, I don't think he was able to stay ahead of the curve, and I think that calls for a different leader. And then how companies can grow leaders for the future? I think in that sense the company needs to start giving people the chance to make decisions, and they need to train them how to make tough decisions at tough times, and that's how you can grow leaders for the future. Thank you very much.